So the new single-player expansion for Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 1 has finally been released, and surprise, surprise, it's more of the same non-stop demon-slaughtering action that we came to love in the base game. However, new environments and enemies spice things up a bit this time around, resulting in some very mixed combat encounters in my opinion. The story takes place after the events of the base game, but for the sake of spoilers, I'm going to avoid discussing the story at length, and I will instead focus on the gameplay innovations and combat arenas featured in the new DLC. So let's discuss. The first thing that really struck me about this DLC after spending so much time away from Doom Eternal was just how difficult it is. Seriously, they throw everything at you in this DLC, sometimes in very tight and confined spaces, making it that much harder to properly maneuver and avoid enemy attacks. There's even one segment on the second mission not pictured here that requires you to move within a very small radius and fight some of the tougher enemies. Another segment even pits you against a marauder under the effects of a buff totem, which, if you've played the base game, you'll know that the buff totem doubles in enemies' movement speed and damage, making the marauder, who is infamously the most difficult enemy in the game, that much more difficult. The new enemy types make the flow of combat even more dangerous and force you to slow down to eliminate them, something that kinda goes against the core tenets of a Doom game as established by the developers. The stationary turrets are a good example. You simply shoot the eye once, and then wait a few seconds for it to pop back up and finish it off. The problem is that it makes the player want to be immobile to deal with this particular enemy, which in a game like Doom is a death sentence. Another enemy type that appears in the second mission is a spirit, which possesses nearby demons and acts as an even more powerful variant of the buff totem. Possessed demons are even immune to weak point targeting and stagger animations, which makes these encounters very frustrating at times. You can only eliminate the spirit with one weapon and one mod, the microwave beam on the plasma rifle. This is just another example of limiting the player's ability to maneuver by forcing them to move more slowly to eliminate one particular enemy. The environments are refreshing to look at, especially the opening mission that takes place on an offshore oil rig facility with an underwater lab to top it off. Graphically, id Tech 7 is still the king of the crop when it comes to texture and environment detail, and the Ancient Gods is no different. The DLC also runs just as smooth as the base game at a solid 80 to 120 frames per second on my personal PC rig, which isn't surprising considering Doom Eternal is one of the most well-optimized games on PC in recent memory. Overall, The Ancient Gods Part 1 is decent and takes a sizable amount of time to complete, clocking in at roughly 5 to 6 hours, which is a solid length for a single-player expansion of this size. The gameplay is more of what we love from Doom, albeit with some rather frustrating enemy encounters in smaller combat arenas. Is it worth the $20? I'd say you're probably better off waiting for the price to drop to somewhere around the $15 mark. But if you enjoyed the vanilla campaign and story for Doom Eternal, you're sure to love this as well. These are some of my thoughts after spending a good chunk of time with the new DLC for Doom Eternal, but now I want to know what you think in the comments down below. Have you played The Ancient Gods Part 1? Did you enjoy it and feel like it was a worthy investment of time? Why or why not? Consider subscribing for more content like this, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. And remember that the outsider walks among us. Thanks for watching.